Okay guys, welcome back to another video and thank you very much for joining me. I do hope you're all doing well. In today's episode guys, I'm going to give you my top 10 signs on how to spot a frequent cocaine user / addict. For anyone new to my channel guys, I am a recovering drug addict myself. I spent over 20 years on that junk, so I know all the signs very well indeed. Now over 2 years clean and helping my fellow addicts across the world achieve sobriety and reclaim their life. That being said guys, if anybody out there needs support with your own addiction, I have a full 3-month support package available on my website. I also do short talking counselling sessions and quickfire one-to-ones. Website link is down below. Now guys, unless you have experience with drugs, it can actually be quite difficult to spot a user or addict. Why? Well, drug addicts, guys, are the absolute masters of lying. They are the experts, so it can be difficult to spot unless you know the signs. But after watching this video, guys, you can have a much better understanding of all the things to look out for. Should you be concerned, of course, that maybe a family member or friend is using or addicted. And FYI guys, before we begin this video, I did all of the actions in this video over and over and over and over again for multiple years, so I am speaking from experience. Sounds horrendous? It truly is. Let's begin. Okay guys, so kicking this video off, and the very first thing to look out for and an absolute hallmark of a cocaine user is blocked nose, people, otherwise known as the old Colombian flu. Now, if somebody's nasal passage, guys, is blocked permanently, you know, maybe their nose is always running, they're always sniffing, you may even see traces of blood from time to time. Now, unless that person has been diagnosed, you know, with nasal symptoms or they have year-round hay fever, there is a very good chance, guys, that they are sniffing something on a very regular basis. Another thing to, of course, look out for, guys, if they're rolling into work every single Monday morning and they are bunged to high hell, they are probably engaging in some sort of drug activity, probably cocaine. Okay, so this is a dead giveaway guys, and a big telltale sign of a cocaine user. FYI guys, I used to carry around with me a little tub of Vicks nasal spray for about 10 years where my nose was that bad. Not only would it allow me to keep breathing, but it would allow me to keep sniffing the drug of choice, which of course was cocaine. That was how bad my nose was. So the very first thing to look out for guys is a blocked nose permanently, otherwise known as the old Colombian flu. Okay guys, number 2 is signs when somebody is under the influence. Okay, the way they act or behave. Now, obviously, as I said earlier, guys, unless you have the experience, you know, and you've been around drugs, it can be quite difficult to know for sure if somebody is under the influence. But if you have experience, guys, you know if somebody is under the influence of cocaine, just like this. But what to look out for the untrained eye? Well, the first thing I say, guys, is somebody may come across as really confident, okay? Non-stop talking, yabber, 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 yabber. That is more relevant for somebody in the beginning stages though, for sure. But the conversation, guys, when listening in to somebody under the influence, it can be very intense indeed. They may go into a level of detail on certain topics that may not be discussed ever at quite a high level, because they have the confidence to do so, because they are in this euphoric state from the drug. Okay, so that is something to look out for. But the way they act and the way they behave, guys, they can be quite serious, they can be quite tense. You're going to see some changes in the face. The old jaw might be swinging, there could be some teeth grinding, okay, leg tapping, twitching, and even shaking. Okay, you're going to see some nasal issues, as I mentioned previously. But the way they talk, guys, and the way they behave, it's just not normal. It's sometimes almost like they're trying to act normal, okay? And this is a dead giveaway. And you can tell this, of course, with their body language and conversation. But a big hallmark, guys, another cocaine hallmark, the eyes, guys, the pupil dilation, okay? The pupils can go very large, but equally, depending on how much they've used and potentially how long they've not slept for, they can also be like a pinprick, okay? So this is, again, a dead giveaway. They may even avoid eye contact when they're like this, of course, for sure. And they may even wear sunglasses, even in the house. Okay, I've seen this multiple times. On the flip side, though, guys, they may be completely silent, sketchy as hell, paranoid as hell, and even struggling to get their words out. So all those things there, guys, are things to look out for when somebody is under the influence. Okay, guys, number 3 is behavioral changes. And this is behavioral changes in general. mood, personality, that type of thing. When somebody is a frequent user or addicted, okay, why they change so much and what to look out for. That's what we're going to dive into, okay? Now, guys, you can quite literally watch somebody's personality, character, mood change / disintegrate really, really quickly once they start consuming hard drugs or become addicted. And I want to give you a little bit of education here as to why that happens, okay, with drugs. Now, guys, addiction is addiction, okay? Ultimately, it all leads to the same place, whether it's behavioral or substances, okay? Some may take a little longer to get to that destination, but ultimately, they are all going to the same place, okay? That place, by the way, guys, is hell, unless you intervene yourself or you have somebody kind enough to intervene for you and you are in the best place to accept that. But whilst addiction is addiction, guys, in my opinion, hard drugs, guys, are on a different level. They rewire the brain much more aggressively, okay? And that's what I want to dive into a little bit here, okay? Now, we all know one of the reasons why habits form, why people become addicted, is because the surge in dopamine within oneself once they consume drugs, for example, okay? The dopamine part of our brain, guys, controls our actions. If you give it something and it's that pleasurable, it's highly likely it's going to want you to do it again, okay? This is one of the major factors as to why habits form. It's not the only factor, but it is definitely one of the significant ones. So I just want to give you a little bit of a breakdown, guys, here and just show you why drugs change people so much more aggressively than other addictions, so to speak. So let's take natural pleasure, guys. Natural pleasure. Food, sex, music. From our baseline numbers of dopamine, once we do a natural pleasure, okay, dopamine levels rise, guys, around 150 to 200%, okay? Now, for the average Joe who has never taken drugs, that is a significant number. And it is a significant number, okay? You listen to music, you listen to some banging drum and bass, it makes me feel good, okay? You're happy, okay? Same, of course, if you have sex or you eat some nice food, okay? It releases dopamine, you feel good. So around 150 to 200%. Nicotine, guys, 200% increase in dopamine from baseline. And we all know, guys, do we not, how difficult it is for people to stop smoking, okay? It can last a lifetime for some people and can even kill people. That's from nicotine, okay? So around 200%. Alcohol, guys. Now we start to ramp up. Alcohol, 200 to 300% increase from baseline. That's a significant number, 300% more. And we all know, guys, just how damaging alcohol is. Alcohol, guys, it gives you a huge lift, does it not? You feel good, you feel happy, you have so much more confidence, you take risks. And that's alcohol, guys, around 200 to 300% increase, okay? Now we start to get serious. Cocaine, guys, 300 to 400% increase from baseline. That's a huge number, guys, 400% increase. And let's be totally honest, guys, if most people out there, if they're taking cocaine, they're also drinking alcohol. So God only knows what the increase is, but it's huge. It's a huge surge in dopamine, of course. And you think, guys, just how addictive cocaine is. Okay, it's highly addictive. You take risks to go and get more. And yeah, it's very Moorish indeed, as we all know why so many people have problems. Methamphetamine, guys, this is incredible. Up to 1000% increase in dopamine from baseline. That is ridiculous numbers, guys. And we've all seen the before and afters, from people in the USA, example, who have been using meth for such a short time. The change, it makes people age like 30, 40 years, really, really quickly indeed. And I have to say, guys, if you get trapped on methamphetamine, it must be an absolute bitch to get off. Cocaine was hard enough for me. That is probably another level, okay? So I just wanted to give you some perspective there of the amount of dopamine released when consuming hard drugs. Okay, guys, so an interesting quote I want to read you. Pleasure isn't a luxury. It's a biological signal that tells us something is beneficial. While pleasure can be hijacked through addictive substances or behaviors, its core role is deeply linked to our survival and flourishing. In other words, guys, if you do something once and it's deemed as beneficial, pleasurable to the brain, i.e., the dopamine release, you're going to be doing it again, whether it's natural or unnatural. Drugs, guys, are the absolute master at hijacking the brain's reward system like no other. After taking that highly addictive drug like cocaine or methamphetamine and giving your brain this huge surge in dopamine release, your brain, guys, then remembers the actions leading up to that dopamine spike. Those actions, guys, eventually become stabilized. Your brain will then condition you by controlling your actions and behaviors in order to get what it wants. Absolutely deadly. I do not recommend it. And when somebody is in that addictive state and is that aggressive, as I've just described to you, you can quite literally watch, that boy or girl that you once knew, the beautiful son or daughter, who was full of life, full of energy, motivated and wanted to achieve in life. You can quite literally watch them disintegrate, change within months once they start using hard drugs or become addicted, okay? The best word to describe somebody, as so many parents have said to me online, is they are witnessing their son or daughter use drugs / become addicted, and they have become unrecognizable, okay? And I think that's the best word to describe somebody when they are in this cycle. But going back to my previous point, guys, the deterioration from other addictions, like sugar or nicotine, for example, it's just not the same. Hard drugs and alcohol, guys, are on a different level. They are much more aggressive physically and mentally, okay? But let's talk about the changes, guys. Move on and talk about the changes when somebody is in this addictive state, okay? The manipulation's going to start, of course, okay? They're going to manipulate situations in order to get what they want. They can become quite nasty. They can become quite cold, numb, especially to family members and friends as well. They may even start to steal or start to rob from you in order to get what they want. Now, not all addicts are like this, guys, but generally speaking, if somebody's in an aggressive decline like this, then these types of things generally follow suit, okay? Because it is a nice downward trip once you become addicted. Now, the big one for me, though, guys, the big one I've always noticed is the lies. The amount of lies addicts will tell in order to get what they want. And that is, again, guys, because their brain has been hijacked and the absolute focus is to get more of the substance, okay? So when they are presented with a situation, okay, if there is a financial benefit for them in that situation or a chance to obtain more drugs, which of course is the same thing, they will say and do whatever is necessary in order to tip the scales in their direction, guys. And that is just how it is when they become addicted. Now, this can be easy to spot, of course, if you know that person well, maybe if it's your son or daughter. But of course, if you don't know that person, guys, it's very difficult to spot. As I mentioned earlier, guys, addicts are absolute expert liars. They're essentially living double lives and they're very good at hiding it, okay? So that is it for that section, guys. That is number 3, behavioral changes. Okay, guys, number 4 is physical appearance. Now, it's fair to say if somebody has a pretty brutal addiction to something, like cocaine or other hard drugs, you're going to see a deterioration in one's physical appearance. Cocaine is super expensive, guys, and is unaffordable for the vast majority of people out there. Another good point to mention, though, guys, is cocaine absolutely suppresses people's appetite. Sometimes I would not eat for several days, just functioning or not functioning, you could say, on cocaine and alcohol. So you're going to see a big deterioration in one's physical appearance. Things like weight loss, guys. People become really skinny over time, They look quite gaunt, pale looking, cheekbones on full display. Some cases of poor hygiene. As I've explained before, guys, addiction will strip everything from you, including living arrangements for some people, okay? So it can affect people's hygiene and things like that as well. But other things to look for, guys, I'm going to give you a real life example from my own addiction. As most of you know, I used to go into isolation when I was using, okay? During that isolation state, even if there was no fluids in the room where I was isolating, I still would not leave that room because I'd be sketchy as hell, paranoid as hell, but I would continue to keep using the cocaine. What would then happen, guys? My lips, my nose would completely dry out and I would have slits all the way along my lips up and down, also the inside of my nose, both nostrils. I've even seen some cases online where people have said their eyes have dried out, which is completely unimaginable, quite simply disgusting. So if you are noticing things like that, guys, that is a clear sign that something is not right, and perhaps they are abusing something like cocaine. On the flip side of that, guys, I do know people who are extremely overweight and are addicts. Okay, I've got one friend in particular who I grew up with, massive guy, completely overweight, abuses cocaine non-stop, drinks alcohol non-stop, and eats a lot of garbage non-stop. Okay, so it can go both ways. But generally speaking, guys, drugs are very demanding physically and mentally on one's body. So it's usually deterioration the other way. People lose weight and all those types of things. So that is number 4, guys, physical appearance. Okay, guys, number 5 is disappearing for days. Now, it's fair to say, guys, for the average Joe out there, living their lives in their 20s, 30s, 40s, they should have some form of responsibility, okay? Maybe they've got a job Monday to Friday, they've got a family to feed, etc. If you are noticing that person, disappearing from, say, Thursday night, Friday night, right the way through to Monday, guys, this is a clear sign they are probably engaging in some sort of drug-taking activity. For the vast majority of people out there, guys, this is abnormal behavior. Most people do not abscond, for 2, 3, 4 days in a row, okay? This is just not normal behavior. Now, this is something me and my friends did for many, many years. What would happen is we would go out on, say, a Thursday or Friday night, end up drinking, which means we're going to end up taking coke, and it would simply just go on all weekend. We would then return home on the Monday. Where the hell have you been? Okay, so if you are noticing this within someone, guys, this is a clear sign they are probably taking drugs, and more than likely cocaine. Okay, guys, number 6, financial problems. Now, needless to say, guys, cocaine is the most expensive illegal drug on the market. It is highly sought after, and it's the most popular Class A drug here in the UK and in most countries around the world. Now, somebody could be in a full-time job, guys, earning, 2.5, 3 grand a month. Let's just say, for example, they could be paid on the Friday, and they're skint by Monday, Tuesday. They're asking to borrow money. They're getting themselves in debt. And if you are living with someone who is maybe going through this and, in that situation, you're thinking, where's all his money going? How can you be skint already? Why are you asking to borrow money? If this is happening, guys, this is a clear sign something is not right, and it could be to something like a cocaine addiction, okay? This is how I lived my life, guys, for many, many years. I used to be paid a full month's pay, on a Friday, and it would be gone by Monday, Tuesday. I'd be ringing my mum the following week. Mum, can I borrow some money? I can't pay my David Lloyd bill. Well, where's all your money gone, son? That type of thing, guys. If that is happening, and somebody's in their 20s, 30s, that is a clear sign, guys, something is not right. One other quick story I'll share with you guys, I can remember to this day, is about 10, 15 years ago. I can remember being paid, 2.5 grand on a Thursday. It was bank holiday on the Friday. Blew the entire money by the Monday, Tuesday. Absolutely skint. My food of choice for recuperation was always a beef curry with boiled rice. I would go round to my local Chinese after the session had ended, and I can remember checking my pockets, no money, not even a couple of quid. Checked my bank, no money at all, and I'm like, what the hell have I just done? I've just blown 2.5 grand, on cocaine and alcohol, and now I can't even afford to eat. That is how brutal that stuff is, guys, but especially when you're under the influence. All those other things around you, food, direct debits, they simply do not matter. That is the power of addiction. So number 6, guys, financial problems. Okay, guys, number 7 is unreliability and unpredictability. Now, I think it's fair to say, guys, that most addicts who are in this unmanageable, uncontrollable stage of their addiction are completely unreliable. You have no idea if they're going to turn up for work on a Monday or any other day of the week for that matter. Now, granted, there are some functioning addicts out there who can maintain their life to some degree. It may not be to the best standard, but they can maintain to some extent, okay? But then guys like myself, I'm the type of addict that once I start, I do not stop. I would go into isolation for several days, meaning the days after I start using any form of responsibility or commitment I have, it's completely gone, okay? Meaning very unreliable, very unpredictable. Now, a quick point I want to mention, just to give people some context and some background of just how addiction works and why people are so unreliable and unpredictable. Now, in the past, guys, for me, when I was battling with addiction and trying to get sober, somebody could say to me, Mark, I've got this event going on, 2 weeks Friday from now, 8 p.m, in town, wherever, make sure you're good, please turn up, I need you there, okay? I'm like, okay. Straight away, guys, in my head, I'm thinking, let's say I had a week of sobriety under my belt. Straight away in my head, I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to be good. I have this uncontrollable, unmanageable addiction I'm currently going through, okay? As soon as that devil comes knocking, guys, and I get the urge, trigger, craving to use, I would simply surrender because I didn't understand how addiction works. And if that was 2 days before that event, guys, there's absolutely no chance I'm going to be there. And that's the type of thing I was living with, guys. Absolutely horrendous. Okay, so if you are noticing somebody who is completely unreliable, maybe they're skipping job every 2 weeks, they're not turning up to certain events all the time, and they're just all over the place in general, guys, this could be a clear sign of addiction, and it could be something like cocaine addiction, okay? So number 7, guys, unreliability and unpredictability. Okay, guys, number 8 is the fascination over drugs. Always talking about it and clear excitement when the word cocaine comes up, or drugs in general. This is a clear sign, guys, that somebody is either using regularly or, of course, they're involved with drugs. Now, just to give you a little bit of background, guys, when I first started, me and my friends, we were absolutely obsessed with the whole lifestyle. As I've said numerous times, it was like we found the missing piece in life. We found something new, something exciting, and there was definitely a clear obsession with drugs there from the get-go, which ultimately led to addiction. But it wasn't just about the feeling of the drug. It was the whole lifestyle. It was obtaining the best contacts, getting the best quality, learning how it's made, learning how it gets into the country, and the paraphernalia, you could say, associated with it as well. So it was the whole lifestyle. But a really good thing I want to share with you guys, and something that somebody shared with me that demonstrates just how exciting it can get for somebody. Somebody once said to me that they get butterflies in their stomach when they hear the word cocaine. And the best analogy I can give you guys is what somebody once said to me, is that they're like a child at Christmas. When they know the drugs are en route, it's like being a child waiting for Santa Claus to come. You can finally go downstairs in the morning and open that exciting present. You're about to feel good because the drugs are en route. That is the kind of excitement it is, guys, when you are taking that stuff, okay? So I just wanted to share that with you. So if you are noticing, guys, that somebody is fascinated with drugs, always talking about it, they're probably immersed in that lifestyle and they are probably using the drug themselves. So number 8, guys, the fascination over drugs. Okay, guys, number 9, and a nice easy one, irregular sleep patterns. Now, for the average person out there, guys, they have some sort of routine. They're probably going to bed, between 10 and midnight for the average Joe, and awake, by 6 and 8 in the morning. If somebody is abusing cocaine, guys, they ain't going to sleep until the early hours. And in some cases, guys, they do not sleep for days. If you are noticing someone, maybe within your household, who's clearly not sleeping, they're fidgeting, they're tossing, turning, they're up all night, 4, 5, 6 in the morning, there is a very good chance, guys, they are probably taking drugs, and it could most definitely be cocaine. So a nice easy one there for you to look out for, guys. Number 9, irregular sleep patterns. Okay, guys, number 10 and the final point to this video, paraphernalia, drug paraphernalia. Now, addicts, of course, are experts at hiding their addiction, but there will always be some form of drug paraphernalia present if you know what you are looking for. Things like, guys, rolled up banknotes, CD cases, DVD cases, mirrors slid under the bed, little sprinkles of white powder on, maybe some sprinkles of white powder on the floor, wraps, snap bags, anything that you can snort from, copious amounts of alcohol. You can drink unlimited amounts of alcohol when you are sniffing, guys. It is ridiculous, okay? Things like the nasal spray, as I said to you earlier, if their nose is blocked solid. Okay, stuff like this, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you do suspect somebody is using or an addict, guys, do not approach them in a bad and horrendous and angry way. Have a conversation with them when they are sober in a relaxed and calm manner and see what the hell is going on. That is it, okay? If anyone needs support, guys, website link is down below. Please like, comment and share this video. Spread the love, spread the joy. I will see you in the next one. Take care.